AITA for canceling the family trip because my stepson damaged my plants. I grow indoor plants and keep them around the house, whether by the kitchen window or out on the front porch. I have a variety of plants like lily, aloe vera, also flowers, and they all require care and attention. It's a hobby of mine, and because I don't own enough space, I just stick to indoor planting. I have a 16-year-old stepson, Sean, who loves to pull all kinds of pranks and has been trying some weird pranks on me lately. I don't mind it as long as he's happy, and also because nothing is too serious, just hiding my farming tools, replacing them with damaged ones, and so on. He just keeps messing around like any other kid. Days ago he posted a FB video of him spraying cold water on me when I was sleeping. It was embarrassing since he shared it with family. I got mad at him and had him delete it despite him begging me to let him keep it. He kept sulking afterwards and had his mom try to convince me to let him repost the video, but I thought that was crazy request. Sean suddenly became friendly and asked if he could water my plants. I was glad he asked and gave him the watering can and told him to start with the plants in the kitchen. He was gone for a few minutes, then he got back and started watering all the plants in the house. Later in the evening I was cleaning my tools and there was a weird smell coming from the watering can. It smelled like bleach. I freaked out and checked my plants and the same smell was coming from them. I confronted Sean and asked what he watered the plants with. He acted dumb and said nothing, but I found a bottle of bleach in his room, which made me lose my temper. He admitted watering my plants with bleach to get back at me for making him remove the video. I was mortified. I immediately canceled the weekend trip to the national park that he was looking forward to. He started crying, saying it was too much and he made a mistaken moment of clouded judgment. I refused to discuss it. My wife feels bad. Sean hasn't been eating well since I canceled the trip, but he damaged my plants and caused me hurt and pain. She thinks an apology was enough. He is a kid and made a mistake. She wanted me to let it go, but I said canceling the trip is his official punishment. Period. I got called unreasonable and stubborn for this, and that I don't respect her as a parent too, and said taking away the only thing he cares about the most and look forward the most reeks of $$, and C. Sean has this mentally that if he admits doing something wrong then he'll be forgiven. This isn't how it should be, but his mother thinks admitting to it and apologizing should be the end of it. Story 2. AITA for banning my MIL from the house. I, male 39, lost my late wife 6 years ago. I have a 16-year-old son, Daniel, and I recently got engaged to my fiancé of 2 years. Her mom and I aren't on good terms because of how she behaves. She's a controlling, self-centered, Dolly Parton wannabe. I learned to ignore her crap, but she's been annoying Daniel and criticizing his personality regularly. She keeps diagnosing him left and right, calling him antisocial, autistic, and other crap. Fact is, Daniel is a shy, well-mannered kid, but people confuse that with being antisocial. MIL tried several times to force Daniel to open up by embarrassing him with personal questions on family dinners and test his personality type. I've realized the effect her behavior had on Daniel, so I gave him the choice to no longer be in the same room, house as MIL, and he appreciated this a lot. MIL didn't like that Daniel kept his distance and no longer visits, and kept bitching about how spoiled he will become for her daughter to deal with. I told her to stop bringing it up, but she cried, "I'm just doing this for Diane." Last week she visited unexpectedly, wanting to say hi to Daniel. After Daniel greeted her, he went into the bathroom and she went into the living room with my fiancé. I was in my bedroom when Daniel came and said his journal was gone. We looked for it but didn't find it. I asked my fiancé, who was alone in the kitchen, but didn't see it. I paused for a second to ask where MIL was. My fiancé said in the living room, but I saw her coming down the stairs. I asked where she was. She said the bathroom. I saw her purse in hand, so I bluntly asked if she took Daniel's journal. She looked offended and called for my fiancé when I insisted to see inside her purse. She wanted to leave, but I didn't let her. Fiancé told me to stop it, but I insisted, and the journal was there. MIL tried to explain this was her only chance to get to know Daniel better because she cares about him. I blew up at her and berated her for stealing from my son and told her she's banned from my house for the stunt she pulled. She argued with me, then left. My fiancé apologized for her but said banning her from the house was over the top. It backlashed and Phil argued and hoped his daughter realizes how I am and call off the wedding for refusing to apologize to MIL. Fiancé said her family won't come to the wedding till I reconcile with her mom and cancel the ban, but I won't let my son be disrespected in his own house, and asked my fiancé to understand. I'm refusing to reconcile, but I'm aware this could ruin my relationship with all my in-laws, not just MIL, and my fiancé thinks I'm selfish to cause drama. Story 3. AITA for walking out of the baby shower my in-laws threw for me. The situation is kind of a mess. I am expecting my first baby with my husband. This is the first grandchild in the family, and they said that if the baby's a boy then we'll give him my father-in-law's name. I had no problem with that. This happened before we found out the gender of the baby. My husband and his family had me do things like attend prayers and do other rituals before the reveal at the DRS. I didn't like that but went with it to keep the peace. Doctor appointment came, and it turned out to be a girl. My husband cried in the car, then turned his phone off to hide from his family, then finally told them. His mom and the others made their frustration and disappointment clear, which bothered me cause my daughter deserves to be celebrated, but they ghosted me for days, then started coming over and visiting, constantly referring to my daughter as my son, claiming the results were false and basically pretending it's a boy. I had several fights with them after they refused to stop it, and my husband sided with them despite seeing how wrong and unreasonable what they were doing was. We didn't speak for a while. Sister-in-law called to apologize, then informed me she arranged for a baby shower for me. I was so excited and happy, but when I arrived I saw blue balloons, blue cake with father-in-law's name, decorations around. I was so confused I had to sit down. Sister-in-law explained they were still hoping the gender results are false and it's a boy. I looked at my husband and he agreed with her. I lost my temper and yelled at them all, calling them delusionals and telling them to stop treating my daughter like she's unwanted and act like she doesn't exist by throwing a party for their imaginary grandson. Mother-in-law broke down crying. I took my bag and walked out immediately. They started yelling and my husband followed me outside and started arguing about how I insulted his family and his dad's memory by acting like that. I told him to wake up and see the insanity in his family's behavior. He said they needed time to process the fact that it's a girl not a boy as they expected, and insisted I play along and they'll soon get over it. I said absolutely not and demanded he take me home. He said no, so I called an Uber and left. He was fuming. He called 15 times. Then texted that he won't be coming home till I get my ass over, and apologized for ruining everything they've done for me and accusing them of being mentally unstable. I haven't responded yet. He's constantly pressuring me to get right with his family before we even talk about anything else. Story 4. AITA for telling my surrogate to stop acting like she was my husband's wife. My husband and I have been together for 5 years. We wanted kids, but because of my health problems this wasn't possible. We decided to go with surrogacy. My friend nominated her sister. I agreed right away cause I know Brittany and the family. We've set everything up, discussed payment, short and long-term plans, counseling and doctor appointments. We explored IVF and chose a private clinic to get it done. It started after Brittany took a pregnancy test. She only told my husband, though she had both our numbers. She only sent my husband a pic of the test while he was at work and sent me nothing when I gave her my personal contact info. But it was okay. Things got complicated when Brittany started having access to our credit cards for her own wants and claimed they were the baby's needs. She excluded me from doctor visits and scans and had only my husband go with her. Her excuse was my husband drives and has time since I work and unavailable most of the time. I felt isolated from this experience, but said nothing, knowing she's bearing a lot of burden, so I had patience. My husband had no idea what was going on and if this was normal. This was new to us, so we didn't know. She's 7 months in and last week she had us visit to discuss things that I thought we'd previously agreed on, but she said she changed her mind about, and her mom was there too. I heard Brittany out and was shocked when she gave a list of how things should be from now on, since she said there was a lot of confusion in the past cause of me stressing her out by complaining. She requested she get say and things like baby name after I deleted the list of names she sent to my husband. She wanted more access to my husband's credit cards, free time to get stuff done at her place, also more time with the baby than agreed on, then wrapped up by saying only my husband should be with her in the delivery room and use the hospital as excuse. I got up and firmly stated I don't agree on her new terms and that she had to stop acting like she was my husband's wife, and this was their baby. My husband didn't speak till she started crying. He asked me to sit down, but I said I had boundaries, reminded her what her role was and how she overstepped. Her mom went off and said her daughter was being mistreated when she put herself mentally and physically through the most selfless act for us, to make us a family. She gave up a part of her life in those months to give us what we want, and I was acting selfish and ungrateful. She had us leave, then told my friend, and it got more complicated. I was told to apologize for what I said. AITA. Edit. Yes. We agreed on paying for the surrogacy like I stated above, so no favors or anything. Edit. No, we did not have a legal contract because my friend said there was no need for us to do that and basically talked us out of it since we are considered family, but we had an agreement including paying her. Edit. Question about whether Brittany had kids of her own. She was a single mom of a 4-year-old who passed away from an accident. She had him at young age, but she always seemed in good mental and physical health.